Do you ever feel like the world is too big and your dreams are too far away? Do you ever look at successful people and think, maybe they were born different? Maybe they had something I do not have. If you have ever felt that way, let me tell you the story of a boy from Seattle who was not born as a legend. He was not born as the richest man in the world. He was not born with a company in his hands. He was not born with a computer on his desk. He was simply a curious boy who loved books, loved questions, and loved learning how things worked. That boy was Bill Gates. Today, many people know his name because of Microsoft, Windows, money, technology, and global success. But this story is not just about money. It is not just about building a company. It is not even just about computers. It is about curiosity. It is about action. It is about seeing an opportunity when other people see only a strange machine. It is about leaving a safe road because your heart knows there is another road waiting for you. And in the end, it is about one powerful question. When you finally have more than enough, what will you do with it? Will you keep everything for yourself? Or will you use your success to help other people live better lives? Stay with this story until the end, because Bill Gates's greatest lesson may not be how he became rich. His greatest lesson may be what he chose to do after he became rich. Welcome back to Woven English, where we learn English through real stories, simple words, and powerful lives. As you listen, try to notice new English words like curiosity, opportunity, risk, innovation, responsibility, and legacy. These are not just words. They are keys to understanding Bill Gates's life. Bill Gates was born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, Washington, in the United States. His full name is William Henry Gates III. He was called Bill because it was shorter, warmer, and easier. He grew up in a comfortable family. He was not poor. But he was also not born into the kind of world-famous power that he would later create. His father, William H. Gates Sr., was a lawyer. He was tall, serious, disciplined, and respected. His mother, Mary Maxwell Gates, was intelligent, active, and deeply involved in education, charity, and public service. From both parents, Bill learned something important. From his father, he learned discipline and clear thinking. From his mother, he learned confidence, leadership, and the idea that successful people should also serve society. Bill was the middle child. He had two sisters, Christy and Libby. At home, the Gates family often played games, talked about ideas, and encouraged competition. Winning was celebrated. Losing was not the end of the world, but it did teach a lesson. This family culture shaped Bill. He became competitive very early. He liked to win. He liked to think faster. He liked to solve problems before other people solved them. But Bill was not always easy as a child. He was bright. But he could also be restless. He questioned rules. He asked why. He did not simply accept things because adults said they were true. He loved reading. Books became one of his first great teachers. When other children were playing outside, Bill could sit quietly with a book for hours. He read about science, history, business, and the world. A book gave him a door. When he opened it, he could travel anywhere. His parents noticed his mind. They saw that he was not just reading for school. He was reading because he wanted to understand. That is the first big lesson from Bill Gates's early life. Curiosity is not a small thing. Curiosity can become a direction. Curiosity can become a future. But school was not always simple for Bill. Sometimes he felt bored. Sometimes the lesson moved too slowly. Sometimes his mind was already far ahead of the classroom. His parents understood that he needed a stronger challenge. So they sent him to Lakeside School, a private school in Seattle. This decision changed his life forever. At Lakeside, Bill found strong teachers, smart students, and something that almost no school had at that time, a computer terminal. Today, computers are everywhere. They are in our homes, our pockets, our schools, our offices, and even our watches. But in the late 1960s, computers were rare. They were expensive. They were large. Most people had never touched one. Many people did not even understand what a computer could do. At Lakeside, the school's Mothers Club helped buy computer time for the students. This gave young Bill a chance that would change history. The first time Bill saw the machine, he was fascinated. It did not look like magic to everyone. To many people, it looked strange, cold, and difficult. But to Bill, it felt like a new world. He learned that if you gave the computer the right instructions, it would follow them. If the instructions were wrong, it would fail. If the instructions were clear, it would work. This idea captured his mind. A computer did not care how old you were. It did not care if you were popular. It did not care if you were shy. It cared about logic. It cared about instructions. It cared about code. Bill began to spend more and more time with computers. He studied programming. He made mistakes. He tried again. He stayed late. He forgot time. At the age of 13, he wrote one of his first programs, a simple tic-tac-toe game that allowed a person to play against the computer. It was not a world-changing program. It did not make him famous. It did not make him rich. But it gave him something more important. Proof. Proof that he could tell a machine what to do. Proof that an idea inside his mind could become something real. That small game was like a small candle. It showed him a path, and sometimes one small candle is enough to lead a person out of darkness and into a future. At Lakeside, Bill also met Paul Allen. Paul was older than Bill. He was quieter, calmer, and deeply interested in technology. Bill was intense, fast, and very competitive. They were different, but they shared the same love: computers. Together, they talked about machines, software, and the future. They were not just playing with computers. They were imagining what computers could become. At that time, most adults still thought computers were only for big companies, universities, and government offices. But Bill and Paul began to see something different. They began to believe that computers could become personal. One day, computers might be used by ordinary people. In offices, in homes, on desks. This idea sounded almost impossible. But many great changes begin as impossible ideas. Bill and Paul did not only dream, they worked. As teenagers, they were involved in programming projects. One important early project was called Traf-O-Data. The idea was to analyze traffic information. It was not a huge success in the way Microsoft later became a huge success. But it taught Bill and Paul something valuable. Business is not only about having a clever idea. You must build something. You must sell it. You must speak to customers. You must solve real problems. And you must keep going when the first version is not perfect. This was another key lesson. An idea is only the beginning. Action is what gives an idea a body. In 1973, Bill Gates went to Harvard University. For many families, Harvard was a dream. For Bill's parents, it was a sign of a bright and secure future. They imagined that maybe Bill would become a lawyer like his father. He was smart enough. He was disciplined enough. He could have followed that respected path. But Bill's mind was still pulled toward computers. At Harvard, he studied hard, but he also spent many hours in the computer lab. He met other brilliant students. One of them was Steve Ballmer, who would later become an important leader at Microsoft. Bill was surrounded by opportunity. But the biggest opportunity of his life did not come from a classroom. It came from a magazine. In 1975, Paul Allen saw the January issue of Popular Electronics. On the cover was the Altair 8800, an early personal computer kit. To most people, it was just a machine for hobbyists. To Paul Allen, it was a signal. To Bill Gates, it was the beginning of a revolution. Paul showed it to Bill. They understood immediately that this was their chance. If personal computers were coming, then those computers would need software. Hardware is the body of a computer. Software is the mind. Without software, a computer is only metal, wires, and parts. Bill and Paul believed they could write software for the Altair. There was one problem. They did not have an Altair computer. They had not written the software yet, but they had confidence. They contacted MITS, the company that made the Altair, and said they were working on a version of the basic programming language for the machine. Then they had to do the work, fast. Bill and Paul worked with great intensity. They used their knowledge, their imagination, and every hour they could find. Paul Allen traveled to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to show the software. The demonstration worked. That moment became one of the most important turning points in Bill Gates's life. Bill faced a choice. He could stay at Harvard, continue on a safe path, and protect his future. Or he could leave school, join Paul Allen, and build a company around software. This was not an easy choice. Harvard was one of the best universities in the world. Leaving it sounded foolish to many people. But Bill saw something that others did not see clearly yet. He saw the future of personal computing. He believed the window of opportunity was open, and he knew that windows do not stay open forever. In 1975, Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded a company. At first, the name was written as Microsoft, from microcomputer and software. Later, the hyphen disappeared and the name became Microsoft. The first years were not glamorous. There were no giant offices. There was no world fame. There was no guarantee of success. There were long hours, hard problems, pressure, and uncertainty. Bill worked intensely. He reviewed code. He pushed people hard. He pushed himself even harder. He believed software mattered. He believed programmers should be paid for their work. This was important because, in those early days, many hobbyists copied software without paying. Bill wrote strongly about this issue. He believed that if software creators could not earn money, they would not be able to keep building good software. Not everyone liked his opinion, but it showed something about Bill. He did not see software as a toy. He saw it as an industry. He saw it as the future. Microsoft moved forward. In 1979, the company moved from Albuquerque to the Seattle area. The team grew. The dream grew. And then came the deal that changed everything. In 1980, IBM was preparing to enter the personal computer market. IBM was one of the biggest and most respected technology companies in the world. It needed an operating system for its new personal computer. An operating system is like the brain manager of a computer. It helps the machine run programs, organize information, and communicate with the user. IBM came to Microsoft. At that moment, Microsoft did not have exactly what IBM needed, but Bill Gates did not let the opportunity pass. Microsoft found an existing system, bought rights to it, improved it, and provided it to IBM. This system became known as MS-DOS for Microsoft and PC-DOS for IBM computers. The deal was powerful, not only because IBM used Microsoft software. It was powerful because Microsoft kept the right to license the software to other computer makers. This helped Microsoft grow with the entire personal computer industry. As more companies made IBM-compatible computers, Microsoft software spread with them. Bill Gates was not only a programmer, he was a strategist. A strategist is someone who sees not only today's problem, but tomorrow's possibility. The IBM deal helped Microsoft become a major force. But Bill was not finished. He wanted computers to be easier for ordinary people. Early computers often required typed commands. You had to know what to write. You had to remember exact instructions. For many people, this was difficult and frightening. Microsoft worked on a new kind of system with a graphical interface. Instead of only typing commands, people could use windows, icons, and a mouse. In 1985, Microsoft launched Windows. The first version was not perfect. It did not immediately conquer the world. But it was a step toward a future where computers would feel more human and less mysterious. Over time, Windows became one of the most important products in technology history. It helped bring personal computers into homes, schools, offices, and businesses around the world. In 1986, Microsoft became a public company. That means people could buy shares of Microsoft on the stock market. As Microsoft grew, Bill Gates became extremely wealthy. In 1987, at the age of 31, he became one of the youngest self-made billionaires in the world. Think about that for a moment. The boy who once sat in a school computer room, fascinated by a machine, had become one of the richest people on Earth. But success brought new pressure. Microsoft became more powerful. Bill became more famous. The world began to see him not only as a brilliant founder, but also as a tough businessman. Some people admired his focus. Some people criticized his aggressive style. As Microsoft grew, it faced major competition. Apple, led by Steve Jobs, had a different vision of personal computers. Apple focused strongly on design, beauty, and the complete user experience. Microsoft focused on software that could run on many kinds of machines. The rivalry between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs became one of the most famous rivalries in business history. They were very different men. Steve Jobs was artistic, emotional, and obsessed with design. Bill Gates was analytical, practical, and obsessed with software. Sometimes they disagreed strongly. Sometimes they criticized each other. But both of them helped shape the modern digital world. This is another important lesson. There is not only one way to change the world. Some people change it through beauty. Some people change it through systems. Some people change it through products. Some people change it through ideas that can spread everywhere. Bill Gates's strength was not that he made computers beautiful. His strength was that he helped make software common, useful, and powerful for millions of people. In the 1990s, Microsoft became one of the most dominant companies in the world. Windows and Microsoft Office became part of daily life. People wrote documents in Word. They made spreadsheets in Excel. They created presentations in PowerPoint. Students, teachers, workers, and businesses all used Microsoft tools. Bill Gates became the face of the computer age. But power always brings questions. In the late 1990s, Microsoft faced a major antitrust case from the United States government. The government accused Microsoft of using unfair business practices to protect its power in the software market. This was a difficult and stressful time. It showed that success can create responsibility, and responsibility can create conflict. Bill Gates had to face public criticism. He had to defend his company. He had to learn that being powerful means people will examine your choices closely. For a simple biography, it would be easy to say, Bill Gates became rich and everything was perfect. But real life is not like that. Success does not remove problems. Success creates new problems. A small person may struggle to be noticed. A powerful person may struggle to be trusted. This chapter of Bill's life teaches us that intelligence is not enough. Ambition is not enough. Even vision is not enough. When your work affects millions of people, your choices become larger than yourself. While Microsoft was growing, Bill's personal life was also changing. In 1987, he met Melinda, French, who worked at Microsoft. She was smart, capable, and independent. Over time, their relationship grew. They married on January 1, 1994, in Hawaii. Together, they had 3 children, Jennifer, Rory, and Phoebe. Family life gave Bill another role. He was not only a founder. He was not only a CEO. He was also a husband and father. For many years, Bill and Melinda also became partners in philanthropy. Philanthropy means using money, time, and resources to help other people. In 2000, they created the Bill Melinda Gates Foundation. The foundation focused on some of the world's biggest problems: disease, poverty, education, vaccines, clean water, healthcare, opportunity. Bill began to ask a new kind of question. Not only, how can software change the world, but also, how can science, money, and organization save lives? This was a major turning point. Bill Gates had already changed the way millions of people used computers. Now, he wanted to help change the lives of people who might never own a computer. Children who needed vaccines, families who needed clean water, students who needed better schools, communities that needed health systems. In 2000, Bill stepped down as CEO of Microsoft. Steve Ballmer became CEO. Bill stayed deeply involved, especially with software strategy. But slowly, his life began to move in another direction. In 2008, Bill Gates moved away from his day-to-day role at Microsoft so he could focus full-time on the foundation's work. Imagine that choice. For most people, building Microsoft would be enough. Becoming one of the richest people in the world would be enough. Being remembered as a technology icon would be enough. But Bill began to understand that money sitting still does not save lives. Money must move. Money must be organized. Money must be used with knowledge, patience, and care. He studied global health. He read deeply. He met scientists, doctors, teachers, and leaders. He looked at data. Data means facts and numbers that help people understand what is really happening. This is one of Bill's strongest habits. He does not only follow emotion, he follows evidence. If a disease is killing children, he wants to know why. If a vaccine can help, he wants to know how to deliver it. If a school system is failing, he wants to understand the details. In philanthropy, as in software, Bill Gates wanted solutions that could scale. To scale means to grow from helping a few people to helping millions. The Gates Foundation became one of the largest private foundations in the world. It supported vaccines, disease prevention, education, and global development. It worked with governments, scientists, nonprofits, and other organizations. Bill often said that where a child is born should not decide whether that child has a chance to live a healthy and productive life. This idea became central to his later work. In 2010, Bill Gates, Melinda French Gates, and Warren Buffett helped create the Giving Pledge. The Giving Pledge encourages very wealthy people to promise to give away more than half of their wealth during their lifetime or in their will. This was more than a charity project. It was a message to the richest people in the world. Wealth is not only a prize, wealth is a responsibility. This may be the deepest moral question in Bill Gates's story. After you win, what do you owe? After you build, what do you give? After the world rewards you, how do you answer the world? Bill's later life was not without pain. In 2021, Bill and Melinda announced their divorce after 27 years of marriage. For any family, divorce is painful. For public people, it is even more difficult because the world watches, comments, and judges. Bill and Melinda had shared children, work, history, and a foundation. Their separation showed that even people with great success can face private sadness. Money cannot protect a person from every human pain. Achievement cannot make relationships simple. Fame cannot stop regret. This part of the story makes Bill Gates more human. He is not only a symbol of success, he is a person who made choices, faced criticisms, experienced loss, and continued to work. Later, Melinda French Gates stepped away from her role at the foundation to focus on her own philanthropic work. The foundation became known as the Gates Foundation. Bill continued as chair, with a focus on health, poverty, innovation, and the future. In recent years, Bill has also worked on climate and clean energy through projects such as Breakthrough Energy. He has spoken about the need for innovation to fight climate change. Matt, my friend. He has also supported work in Alzheimer's research and other health challenges. Even in his later years, he has not stopped learning. This is important. The young boy who loved books did not disappear. The teenager who stayed late with computers did not disappear. The Harvard student who saw the Altair and felt the future opening did not disappear. He simply changed his tools. First, the tool was code. Then, the tool was software. Then, the tool was a company. Then, The tool was philanthropy, and now the tool is impact. In 2025, Bill Gates wrote that he planned to give away virtually all of his wealth through the Gates Foundation over the next 20 years. He also said the foundation would close its doors permanently at the end of 2045. This is a powerful idea. He does not want the money to sit forever. He wants it to work now, while many urgent problems still need attention. This decision gives the final part of his life a clear shape. Not accumulation, distribution. Not only success, service. Not only building wealth, giving it back. So what can we learn from Bill Gates? The first lesson is this: stay curious. Bill Gates' story began with curiosity. A book, a question, a computer terminal, a line of code. Curiosity opened the first door. If you want to grow, do not stop asking questions. The second lesson is this: learn deeply. Bill did not only touch a computer and dream. He studied, he practiced, he failed, he tried again. Learning is not always exciting. Sometimes it is slow, sometimes it is difficult. But learning builds the mind that can recognize opportunity. The third lesson is this: take action when opportunity appears. The Altair 8800 was not just a magazine cover. For Bill and Paul, it was a signal. They moved quickly. They did not wait until everything was perfect. They did not wait until they had no fear. They acted. The fourth lesson is this: be willing to take a risk. Leaving Harvard was not easy. Starting Microsoft was not safe. But some dreams require risk. Not careless risk, not foolish risk, but thoughtful risk, guided by preparation and belief. The fifth lesson is this: success brings responsibility. Bill Gates did not have a perfect career. He faced criticism. Microsoft faced legal challenges. His personal life had painful chapters, but his story shows that life does not end at success. In many ways, success is where the harder questions begin. The sixth lesson is this: give back. True success is not only what you collect, it is what you contribute. It is not only what you build for yourself. It is what you help others build for their lives. Bill Gates' story is not a fairy tale. It is not a simple story of a perfect genius. It is the story of a curious boy who became a powerful builder. A builder of software, a builder of a company, a builder of systems, and later, a builder of hope through philanthropy. He helped change the way the world works. Then he tried to help change who gets a chance to live better. That is why his story still matters. Not because every person should become Bill Gates. You do not need to build Microsoft. You do not need to become a billionaire. You do not need to leave university or start a giant company. But you can learn from the direction of his life. Read more, ask more, practice more, take your chance, use your skills, and when success comes, do not let it make your heart smaller. Let it make your responsibility bigger. Bill Gates once sat as a boy with a book in his hands. Then he sat as a teenager in front of a computer terminal. Then he stood as a young man at the edge of a life-changing decision. Stay safe at Harvard, or step into the unknown? He stepped into the unknown. Years later, after building one of the most important companies in history, he faced another question. Keep building wealth, or give it back to help others? Again, he chose the harder road. And maybe that is the real story. Not just the computer, not just the company, not just the money, but the choices. The choice to learn, the choice to act, the choice to risk, the choice to build, and finally, the choice to give. Now I want to ask you something. Which moment from Bill Gates' story stayed with you the most? Was it the curious boy reading quietly in his family library? Was it the young man leaving Harvard because he believed personal computers would change the world? Or was it the older billionaire choosing to give away his wealth to help people he may never meet? Write your answer in the comments. Your answer may inspire someone else who is listening today. And if this story helped you learn English and feel inspired, please like this video and subscribe to Woven English. Your support may seem small to you, but it helps our channel continue sharing meaningful stories in simple English. Thank you for listening. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep believing that your future can be bigger than your fear. This is Woven English. See you in the next story.